Welcome back. All right, I'm going to do a career of a player that kind of goes against type. How many times have we heard that Swedish players are soft? Happens all the time. Tomas Sandstrom was not. Also, he was kind of a Brad Marchand before we had Brad Marchand in the NHL, or Brad Marchand, whichever way he wants to pronounce it this coming season. He does change back and forth. I think it's a trolling measure. But Sandstrom was a very good player whose sometimes sneaky, dirty play meant that overshadowed some of his good play. Slashes and high sticks, and almost any team that Sandstrom played against during a game would want to go after him. And the reality was he was elusive, and yet the style of hockey he played, the very physical style of hockey he played, led to him playing fewer games than he otherwise would have. But yeah, Sandstrom comes into the league after being drafted 36th overall in 1982. He makes his debut in 84-85 with the New York Rangers. 74 games, 29 goals, 29 assists, 58 points. Very solid rookie season. He added 2 assists in 3 games in the playoffs. He ends up finishing 7th in Calder voting. 85-86, 73 games, 25 goals, 29 assists, 54 points. So very, very good production his first 2 seasons. And in the playoffs, 4 goals, 6 assists for 10 points in 16 games. So again, very good player. Nice little run for the New York Rangers. And then he has this breakout year in 86-87. 64 games, 40 goals. It's the one time in his career he hit the 40-goal mark. 34 assists, 74 points. So if not for injury, which again we'll talk about throughout this video, he would have ended up with 90-plus points, right? In the playoffs, he plays 6 games, 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. So the 87-88 season rolls around. He plays 69 games. His totals drop a bit, but still very respectable. 28 goals, 40 assists, 68 points, and he plays in the All-Star game. So it is unusual to see a player who's an agitator / dirty player who ends up in an All-Star game, but there you go. 88-89, 79 games played, 32 goals, 56 assists, 88 points. He's a very solid producer, right? And in the playoffs, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points in 4 games. So he's also pretty darn good in the playoffs. Really, with Sandstrom, his game is pretty solid all around. 89-90, he plays 48 games with the Rangers, 19 goals, 19 assists, 38 points. Then he's part of a trade during the All-Star break. And it was absolutely ridiculous this trade went down because nobody saw it coming. He is traded to the LA Kings along with Tony Granato in exchange for Bernie Nichols. So what this does is it kind of changes the picture for the LA Kings, right? Bernie Nichols coming off of a career year, the LA Kings deciding to move on the following season. And with Sandstrom, you're getting sandpaper, right? You're also getting a guy who other teams really hate, Granato, a guy who can score some goals, a 30-goal scorer and whatnot. So he gets to LA, and honestly, the total's fantastic. 28 games, 13 goals, 20 assists, 33 points. So in total, 71 points, 32 goals. In the playoffs, 10 games, 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. So while the LA Kings don't go that far in the playoffs in 1990, you can see that Sandstrom has immediate chemistry, right? The reason I'm wearing the Gretzky jersey for this one. 90-91, 68 games played, 45 goals, which is 7th overall in the NHL. That's the second 40-goal season. I think I made the mistake of saying 40 was his career high. I was clearly incorrect. His career high, 45 goals. Apologies. 44 assists, and that 89 points is one more than he had in the 88-89 season. So again, if he had played all 80 games that year, probably a 100-point season, right? In the playoffs, 10 games, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. He did play in the All-Star game. That's the second and final time that happened. 91-92, 49 games played. I mentioned physical play means he gets hurt a lot. 17 goals, 22 assists, 39 points. And in the playoffs, he adds 3 assists in 6 games. 92-93, he misses half the year that year as well. 39 games, 25 goals, 27 assists, 52 points. So Sandstrom's hurt. When he's not hurt, he's a fantastic player, recording more than a point per game. And then in those playoffs, the LA Kings go to their first ever Stanley Cup final. 24 games for Sandstrom, 8 goals, 17 assists, 25 points. He was third in playoff scoring behind a couple of players you may have heard of, Wayne Gretzky and Dougie Gilmour. So, yeah, that's some pretty heady territory right there. So 93-94 rolls around. The LA Kings unable to capitalize on the success they had going to the final in 93. And things start to change quickly after that. He plays 51 games with LA, 17 goals, 24 assists, 41 points. And then he's traded. So February 16th, he's traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins with Sean McEachern going the other way, Marty McSorley, and Jim Peck. So Jim Peck, who won a Stanley Cup with Pittsburgh, Marty McSorley, a player who would be infamous not too long after this. But yeah, Sandstrom and McEachern, that's kind of a win for Pittsburgh, isn't it? So after the trade in Pittsburgh, 27 games. So he plays 78 games that year. 6 goals, 11 assists, 17 points. No points in the playoffs that year. 94-95, a lockout-shortened season of 48 games. He almost plays the full schedule, 47 games, and his offense gets better. 21 goals, 23 assists, 44 points. In the playoffs, he adds 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points in 12 games. So when he joins the Pittsburgh Penguins, that's after they won their back-to-back Stanley Cups in 91-92, and they're not really able to get back to that, right? 95-96, he plays 58 games. Again, so many games missed in his career due to injury. 35 goals, 35 assists, 70 points. So there it is again. He only plays 58 games, but he still records 70 points. So when he's in the lineup, he's excellent. In the playoffs, the Penguins go on a bit of a run. 18 games, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points for Sandstrom, a player who would play through injury in the playoffs, absolutely. 96-97, he plays 40 games in Pittsburgh, 9 goals, 15 assists, 24 points. And on January 27th, he is traded to the Detroit Red Wings for Greg Johnson. So the scoring's dropped off at this stage, but Sandstrom's still able to agitate. The slashes and the hooks and the high stick still work. So 34 games in Detroit after the trade, 9 goals, 9 assists, 18 points. And wouldn't you know it, the Detroit Red Wings, who had been frustrated by their lack of success previously, they win a Stanley Cup. 20 games for Sandstrom in that run, 4 assists. He did assist on the clinching goal in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup final, and so he gets himself a Stanley Cup ring. So that's what he was after in LA, obviously, where they get to the final. Pittsburgh, a team that had been champions prior, he gets that Stanley Cup ring with the Detroit Red Wings. And then he goes to market. So on October the 20th, he ends up signing as a free agent with the Anaheim Ducks. 77 games in the 97-98 season, and you can see the offense has really dropped off. That style of play really hurts as the career goes along, right? And this is why when Tom Wilson signed his contract extension last week with Washington, there's going to be some concerns. Because, yeah, guys who play that physical style, they do wear down. 9 goals, 8 assists, 17 points for Sandstrom that first year with the Ducks. The second year with the Ducks, 98-99, 58 games, 15 goals, 17 assists, 32 points. So much better scoring that second year of what would be a final year of his career in the National Hockey League. He had no points in 4 playoff games for a Ducks team that would win a Stanley Cup, but not until 2007. So in the end, he ends up playing 983 games in his career. You look at all the games he missed, he could have easily ended up with 1,100 games played if he'd stayed healthy, but that would have involved playing a much different style of hockey and not really his kind. 394 goals, so he's close to 400 goals in his career. 462 assists, 856 points for Sandstrom. In the playoffs, 139 games played, 32 goals, 49 assists, 81 points. He did win bronze for Sweden in 1984. So he is remembered primarily for being a clutch player and also being an agitator and a player that other teams really hated playing against. I always got the feeling that if he's your teammate, you really liked him, and if he's your opponent, you really didn't. Which, again, it feels like I'm describing Marchand, but yeah, Sandstrom had a solid career, was around for quite some time, and so I figured, why not do a career video discussing Tomas Sandstrom? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.